the Hippie To Do app series. In this series, we're working on creating a simple to do application. If you've not seen the previous video, we've already done an introduction and created a collection. So this to do item collection that we will use to store the title and description of to do items in our app. Uh, this app is effectively reproducing um, a to-do app that was done in code by a user on GitHub, and we're demonstrating how to implement the same thing in the Hippie UI. So I did go ahead and create a version of this ahead of the recording. So we're going to reproduce the steps I took to do that in this video. All right, so if you look at the design for the To-Do app, it has a couple of components. It has this icon on the left, has a checkbox on the right, it has this title. When there is a description, it appears here, and it also shows the time when the item was last modified. If you are familiar with the Flutter framework, then it probably is immediately obvious that the built-in list tile widget could be used to reproduce this kind of layout. And that's effectively what we're going to do. But if you're not familiar with Flutter, I will take you through and introduce you to that widget and how you would put this widget together. So we'll start by actually creating a new screen. I need to create a new one first and then delete the old one. So with our new screen, there are multiple ways you can display items from top to bottom, but perhaps the simplest and most common way is to use a column. And in this video, we're going to use a column, and in a future version, when the To-Do app gets more sophisticated, we'll use another widget, maybe a list view or something similar. But for now, we're going to use a column to try and keep things as simple as possible. The column allows you to lay out one or more items or two or more items from top to bottom. And that's effectively what we'll need for our to-do items. So to-do item here, to-do item here, and so on. In Hippie, if you have a piece of UI that is effectively repeated, and you want to be able to create that just once rather than having to redo it throughout the application, you would use a component. And in our case, we're going to create a new component to represent our to-do item. We'll call this component to-do item, right? And the to-do item, we'll just reset that to get rid of the default color, and we're going to set the width from pixels to percent. So now the width of our component will just fill out the width. We'll leave the height at 100 pixels for now. We might revise that later, but we'll leave it there for now. And as I mentioned before, just looking at the design for the To-Do app on GitHub, the first thing I thought of was the list tile. The list tile is effectively a widget that has multiple areas that you can place other widgets into. So in this case, it has 4 areas where we can place content. You have a title area, lead-in, subtitle, and trailing. So let's look at the app again. Here we have the title. Below it, you have the description and the time. This is where the title area effectively displays. This is the subtitle area of the list tile widget, and then you have the trailing area and the lead-in area. So in our case, we need a few things. we need to put the title in, and the title is a simple text. So you have two options. You can drop the widget directly here, actually three options. You can drop the widget directly here, you can drop it on the tree over here, or you can drop it in the properties panel in the correct area. So let's call this one to do item title. Well, that's just the label that's going to be displayed, and we'll just press OK. We'll ignore all the other options for now on the text. So that's given us this to do item title text. Now, if we go back to the list tile, we'll put in, you'll see that the title has been filled in, and we'll put in the subtitle as well. Now, because this subtitle only accepts a single widget, and in the design we'd like to have two, you'd need to use a column or something else in here, but for now we'll come and do that later. For now we're just going to put the description in, and we'll come and put the updated time in a separate video probably. So we need another text, and if we drop that over here, it will ask you which area are you trying to put that in, because there are multiple places in which it can fall, and so we've just done the title, so we want to set that in the subtitle area, and you can see it just gets placed directly below. In the design again, on the right you have this checkbox, on the left you have an icon, so we can then put in an icon. So let's just display this one as well. So if we do lead in, see the icon goes into the lead in area, and on the right there is a checkbox. So we want to put that into the trailing area, and so we've now created a component that kind of matches the design that is on GitHub. First, however, let's change this to a check icon, I think. So you click the existing icon that's been displayed and you search for check. I think it's, it might be this one actually. Yeah, let's go with that. And we'll change the color by default to something grayish. Maybe that one. All right. So now we have a grayish icon. Let's maybe increase the size to 24, not big enough, 40, 50. Yeah, that's closer to what's on GitHub. Okay, so we've now, within a couple of seconds, effectively reproduced that aspect of the to-do app UI that's on GitHub. And we'll go into detail about how this will all work and how you change the content to actually fill in these temporary text with the content that the user has entered. But effectively, the layout aspect of this is now more or less complete. We will come back because, as I said, we need to display a date down here. And you're not able to place two items directly into the subtitle, so we'll need to wrap that in a widget that allows us to put multiple items in there. But for now, we've already effectively reproduced that entire UI. So in the next video, we'll pick up from there and we'll start using this component that we've created.